Well, yes, it's...
I needed a new...
For someone that's threatening our business.
So, we kick off with a mysterious guy stepping into a bar. The customers don't seem too thrilled about his presence, but he acts like he doesn't even notice. He starts telling a chilling tale about a bar in another town that got completely wrecked by a man dressed in black. All because he was searching for someone named Butcho. This story immediately unsettles everyone, including the bartender and his right-hand man, Tavo. They try to get a clear description of this dangerous guy's face, but the storyteller, Buscemi, claims he doesn't know.
Not at all. Now, these guys were world-class.
He does, however, warn them that the man in black is likely heading their way. Meanwhile, the man for Buscemi's story, El Mariachi, wakes up from a dream about Domino, his love from the previous movie. A knock on the door pulls him out of it, and he lets Buscemi in. Turns out, Buscemi has been helping him track down Butcho's whereabouts. He informs El that Butcho can probably be found at the bar he just came from. Curious, Buscemi asks El what he plans to do once he gets his revenge.
Whatever. Just remember, Butcho's the one.
El's response is simple. It'll be over. Buscemi, clearly relieved, admits he's glad, but El teases him, saying he never had the guts for this kind of thing. Buscemi fires back, neither did you. El freshens up, dresses like a mariachi, and heads into town. Along the way, he meets a young boy carrying a guitar and gives him a quick lesson on how to relax his fingers while playing.
There's not that much work for me.
However, thanks to an old injury to his left hand, courtesy of Moko from the first film, El can't use his own fingers properly, so he teaches the boy how to pluck the strings with his right hand instead.
Here's the secret.
Meanwhile, Butcho is getting paranoid. He knows the man in black is coming for him. He orders his crew to stay on high alert, and even goes so far as to buy himself a bulletproof limo. El eventually arrives at the town's bar. Thanks to Buscemi's earlier warning, the patrons are already suspicious, even though El doesn't match the exaggerated description.
Are you sure you don't want to hear me play before you say there is no work?
The biggest Mexican I've ever seen in my life. Still, the black clothing alone is enough to make them wary. They force him at gunpoint to open his guitar case, expecting to find an arsenal, but they only see a regular guitar. Satisfied, they let him go, but what they don't realize is that the guitar is just a clever disguise hiding his actual weapons. Just as they think they've got the situation under control, El flips the script. He springs into action, unleashing two P90 semi-automatic pistols from his sleeves and turns the bar into a bloodbath. Meanwhile, in a hidden room, several men watch the shootout unfold on a monitor. Tavo, suspecting a betrayal, executes a man they call the pickup guy. Back in the bar, El takes out almost everyone except for the bartender, who he tries to interrogate about Butcho's location. But before he can get any answers, a hidden gunman accidentally shoots the bartender in the forehead. A standoff ensues, both men scrambling for weapons, only to find that every gun is empty, until one of them finally finds a loaded one. Unfortunately for him, El is faster, snapping his neck before he gets the chance to shoot. As El walks away from the carnage, he remains oblivious to the fact that Tavo is tailing him, armed with a Desert Eagle and AP-90. However, El notices a stunning woman walking toward him. Her shocked expression gives him just enough warning. He shoves her aside just in time to dodge a bullet and quickly takes Tavo down. Later, El wakes up in a bookstore, his arm being stitched up by the woman he saved. She introduces herself as Carolina. He insists he needs a hospital, but she warns him that he really wouldn't want to go there. When he asks where they are, she explains it's her bookstore, though business is struggling. The painkillers she gives him soon knock him out. While he's resting, Carolina steps out for a bit, then returns, curious about his guitar case. She opens it, first seeing the guitar, but then the hidden compartment reveals his weapons. Before she can react, El grabs her. Rather than being scared, she recognizes him. You're that guy people tell stories about. He even offers her one of his guns as a gift, but she politely declines. El later heads to a church to meet Buscemi, who urges him to get out while he still can, because he's getting out. El follows him outside, still unaware that he's being stalked by another hitman, Navajas, who's been trailing him throughout the film. As Elle considers giving up, Buscemi actually encourages the idea. But just as things start to settle, Navajas makes his move, launching a flurry of throwing knives. Buscemi is killed instantly, and Elle is wounded but manages to take cover in an alley. Navajas waits confidently at the entrance. Right then, Butcho's limo rolls up, packed with his armed men and his girlfriend. They try to question Navajas about who he is, but he responds by taking out several of them with his knives before he's finally gunned down. Elle, still bleeding, manages to slip away unnoticed. While stumbling through town, he runs into the young boy from earlier, who excitedly wants to show him his real guitar. Despite being in pain, Elle follows him. Just then, a car pulls up and a man inside exchanges guitars with the boy. As the car turns the corner, the men inside spot Elle. One of them reaches for a gun, but Elle is quicker, forcing them to hand over the new guitar before they drive off. When he opens it, he finds a packet of cocaine hidden inside. Angry, Elle questions the little boy, who casually reveals that nearly everyone in town is involved in the drug trade, including Carolina's bookstore, which is actually a front. Enraged, Elle heads straight back to confront her. Meanwhile, Butcho's men return to their compound, dragging Navaja's lifeless body behind them. Butcho calls his superiors to get details on the guy they sent to track down Elle. Turns out, the description fits Navaja's perfectly, but Butcho keeps quiet about the fact that his men already took him out. Frustrated, he scolds his second-in-command for thinking Elle is just some made-up legend. Back at the bookstore, Elle storms in, furious at Carolina. He accuses her of working with Butcho, the very man he's hunting, and blames her for his friend's death. Carolina quickly clears things up, saying she's not actually working for Butcho. She explains that packages are just dropped off and picked up from her store, and in return, she gets paid $50,000 a year. She only takes a bit to keep the bookstore afloat, stashing the rest away in case she ever needs to run. Problem is, once you're in, there's no way out. Elle, still fuming, eventually calms down and lets Carolina tend to his injuries. But just as she's about to get started, she suddenly pushes him behind the counter, right before Butcho walks in. Butcho grills her, asking if she's seen any suspicious people, but she plays it cool, saying she hasn't. She promises to call if she spots anything unusual. Meanwhile, Elle, hidden behind the counter, tries to quietly load his gun. But before he can get it ready, Butcho leaves. Elle wants to follow him, but Carolina warns him that it would be suicide and convinces him to wait. While recovering, Carolina gives Elle a guitar as a gift. They try playing together, but it doesn't quite work out. One thing leads to another, and they end up sharing a passionate moment that turns into something more. Meanwhile, Butcho orders his men to raid the bookstore. If they find Elle, they're to kill him and Carolina and burn the place to the ground. The next morning, Elle wakes up to Carolina, singing with her eyes closed. He suddenly notices shadows moving behind the curtains. It's Butcho's men. Without hesitation, he silently pulls out his pistol and shotgun, then yanks Carolina out of the way as he shoots down the attackers. They try to escape, but the bookstore is already engulfed in flames. With no choice, they head to the rooftop, shooting their way through Butcho's men. Just as they're cornered, Carolina makes a daring jump to the next building, and Elle tosses his guitar case across. More gunmen close in behind him, forcing him to jump backward off the roof while shooting. Miraculously, he lands without injury. He then takes out the last of the men with a grenade. From his hiding spot, Elle spots Butcho arriving. He takes aim with his scope pistol, ready to end it, but when he sees Butcho's face, he hesitates and lowers his weapon. Carolina asks why he didn't take the shot, but he doesn't answer. Instead, they retreat to a hotel to lay low. Elle tells Carolina that she should escape while she still can, using the money she saved to start fresh. But Carolina sadly reveals that the money was hidden in the books that burned down. With no way out, Elle calls for backup, his old friends, Campa and Quino. When they arrive, the three of them head to an empty part of town, where Butcho's men quickly track them down. Campa and Quino aren't empty-handed, though. Campa wields machine guns hidden in his guitar cases, while Quino carries a rocket launcher. They unleash chaos on Butcho's crew, taking out waves of men, with Carolina helping in the fight. However, things take a tragic turn when Quino is killed by a sniper, and Campa runs out of ammo and is taken down. In the middle of the chaos, the little boy Elle met earlier gets caught in the crossfire and is badly injured. Enraged, Elle and Carolina finish off the last of Butcho's men, including his second-in-command, whom they run over with a car. They rush the boy to the hospital, but the doctors aren't sure if he'll make it. Determined to end things once and for all, El heads to Butcho's ranch for the final showdown. When they arrive, Butcho's men immediately surround them. But instead of giving the kill order, Butcho calls them off. That's when it's revealed El and Butcho are actually brothers. This shocking truth is why El hesitated earlier when he had the chance to kill him. Butcho, furious over Carolina's betrayal, points his gun at her and tells El to stand down while he deals with her. He says once she's dead, they'll be even for all the men El killed. But El isn't about to lose someone he cares about again. In a split second, he pulls off his old trick. His guns shoot out from his sleeves, and he takes down Butcho. Later, El and Carolina visit the hospital and find out the boy survived and is getting better. How they managed to escape Butcho's remaining men is left unexplained. As El prepares to leave, he thanks Carolina and walks off into the desert. But Carolina isn't about to let him go just like that. She pulls up in a Jeep and offers him a ride. El tosses his guitar case aside and hops in, but after a moment's hesitation, he changes his mind. Just in case, he goes back for it. And with that, they drive off into the sunset. If you like this recap, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you didn't, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. Make sure to check out the full movie, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more awesome videos.